I'll now quickly give an example of what implementation research components were used in the PSBI study. You've probably heard this study since yesterday. Dr. Rajiv, Dr. Joseph, and Dr. Kazi mentioned the studies. This was a feasibility study of implementation of simplified management of young infants with possible serious bacterial infection, or this is PSBI, when referral is not feasible in tribal areas of Pune district, Maharashtra. In India, this was actually carried out at 4 sites. SAS was another site, and there was a site in Haryana and Uttar Pradesh, Lucknow, and we were the 4th site. This was for the Pune site. The partners were the Health Department, Zilla Parishad, Pune district, which manages all public health programs in Pune, and KM Hospital Research Center. This was supported by a grant from the Gates Foundation through the WHO. So what I'm going to do, I will not describe the study in details. I'm just going to highlight the key implementation research components that were used in this study as an example. So what was the problem, or what is the problem, we can say? So we all know, most of us would know, PSBI, or in a shorter term, sepsis in newborns. Specifically, not just newborns, in the age group of 0 to 59 days, is a major cause of mortality and morbidity in India. It contributes to 16% of all neonatal deaths in the country. And we know there are challenges in recognition of sepsis in these children, and as well as providing them adequate and appropriate treatment. But then, is there an intervention that is there? Yes. There is an intervention. The IMNCI, the Integrated Management of Neonatal and Childhood Illnesses guidelines, are there, which have very clear algorithms on how to identify sepsis in children and how to treat them. And this is for medical officers and ANMs. Our ANMs are basically auxiliary nurse midwives or nurses in the public health system. So you don't even need a specialist to diagnose and treat sepsis. So guidelines were there. The problem is there. So the issue lies in the implementation of these guidelines. So this was the implementation research problem statement, if we can call it. So what happened was WHO had an expert consultation with different government counterparts, as well as scientists, researchers from all over the world. And they came up with some adapted guidelines for IMNCI, or specifically, let's now look at sepsis in the age group of 0 to 59 days kids. So the adaptations, I won't go into details, but adaptations were mostly to consolidate the signs and symptoms for identification of sepsis, and adjustments in the doses of antibiotics, and the schedule of antibiotics and who can give antibiotics. So the most important adaptation here was that young infants, that is infants in the age of 0 to 59 days, with only fast-breathing pneumonia can be treated at the level of ANM and medical officer, and need not be referred to a tertiary level hospital, using a simple and commonly available antibiotic, which is amoxicillin. And for sepsis, other sepsis cases, gentamicin course, 7-day course of gentamicin and amoxicillin given by the ANM and the medical officer can treat sepsis for children who cannot be referred, right? So this was the intervention. Now the whole issue was, can this be implemented within the health system, right? Because this is what we were interested in. The intervention is there. Now let's see what are the challenges, barriers, and not just challenges. We always talk of challenges and barriers, but we also need to take a look at facilitators, because there are certain things that help also, that ideas also which help in such treatment implementation. So the study objectives, now these objectives were common for all the 4 sites in India: to inform and accelerate the use of simplified management of sick young infants up to 2 months of age with PSBI, strengthen the health systems, manage PSBI at the primary health center without referral to a specialist, and look at the adoption of policy and implementation of newer guidelines and operational issues. The formative work, we have been talking about formative work. Why formative work is important in implementation research. The most important step, as far as it was for all the 4 sites, but for the Pune, I'll talk about the Pune site. The most important step in this, I think, in this whole study, was that the public health system and KM Hospital Research Center came together. They agreed upon the design, they agreed upon the protocol for the study, they agreed upon the algorithms, the the diagnosis, the management, who will do what will an A&M do, what will ASHA do, what will MO do, what will the KM team do, etc. I think this was probably a very crucial step. Once this was done, once both partners were in agreement, the following rollout of the study was much more easier. The study areas were also selected in consultation with the health system. They said the tribal areas are usually underserved. They have a larger mortality morbidity. So let's go do the study in that area. And that's what we did. The protocol, as I said, was developed in consultation with the health system. There was a very nice suggestion from the health system to form a technical support unit for the study for the Pune site. And the technical support unit would comprise of the NHM director, the National Health Mission director in Pune, the additional health director for Maharashtra, senior scientists, professors from medical colleges, and the public health system. The idea was to provide an oversight and guide the study team during the rollout of the study. This diagram, if we see the research support team, that was the KM team, and the implementation team, the roles go in parallel, and no one is, I mean, both have equally important roles to play in the whole study. So for example, the research support team helped in initiating the policy dialogue and establishing the demonstration site, whereas the implementation team ensured that the teams right from the district level to the PHC level, sub-center level, were aware of this study, and they were brought on board. The research support team, the KM team, provided training on field technical support and documentation in the form of case record forms, CRFs, whereas the implementation team members, which included ANMs and MOs, actually diagnosed and managed sepsis. So all in all, both the teams worked towards a common goal of demonstration of an effective and safe implementation strategy for PHBI within the public health system. So these were the trainings. These were done. So we had 4 training batches of 3 days each, which included classroom training and an NICU training. You can see the photo on the right, top right, which was an NICU training. So all medical officers and ANS from these tribal PHCs were taken to a tertiary care level NICU for the training. We conducted a baseline survey before implementation, which showed that there were certain inadequacies in the diagnosis and management of sepsis in these areas, and during the baseline survey, only a referral mechanism was set in place as to what happens if a child is sick in a very remote part of the tribal area. How do we get an ANM, a medical officer, to see the child? What if the child needs transportation to a tertiary care system, etc. So these are all minute details, but this is what implementation research activities actually consist of. This was the diagnostic and management algorithm. I won't go into the details. I mean, it is now published also, but basically it's a clear guideline on what happens if a child has such as X number of danger signs. What happens if a child has only fast breathing pneumonia? Only sepsis? Who does what? At what level? Where to do it? At the PHC level or the tertiary care? What medicines, etc. So this is just a chart, and there were detailed algorithms for each of these conditions, for no danger signs, for PHPI, for fast breathing, etc. So let's look at some of the results. Now, before we look at these numbers, let me be clear that quantitative outcomes were not the primary outcomes of this study. We were not looking at whether this intervention of the management and diagnosis sepsis is effective or not, because that was already been proved. There are guidelines which show, which have come out on IMNCI management, on neonatal sepsis management. But still, to provide a context, quantitative or numbers are needed to help define our outcomes. So just a quick look at the numbers. So over the study period of 1.5 years, the medical officers and ANMs in these tribal PHCs diagnosed and managed 175 cases of PHC. So this includes fast breathing pneumonia as well as sepsis cases in this age group of 0 to 59 days. There were unfortunately 6 deaths, but out of 175, there were only 6 deaths. And rest, all of them, we were able, when I say we, it's primarily the health system staff who were able to successfully manage and treat these children. Of course, there were some challenges, there were some issues which were there at the beginning. Some of them were there towards the mid also. So let's look at those challenges and the implementation research outcomes. The primary challenge, at least towards the beginning of the study, was that inadequate case reporting in the first 6 months of the study. So ANMs and medical officers were not reporting as many cases of sepsis as were expected, right? Towards the beginning. So what we did was we had reorientation sessions individually with each PHC, at each PHC with ANMs and ASHAs. We encourage medical officers to help the ANMs, especially at night times or in remote areas. We got the district officials to come in, because once the district official encourages medical officers and ANMs, it helps a lot rather than an outsider like KM coming in and encouraging them. And this actually helped, and case reporting did increase over the next 15 months of study. However, there are some pockets which had still some issues, some local issues there. Documentation by ANMs, there are certain IMNCI forms that the health system has. There were some inadequacies. I wouldn't say they were documented, but there were some inadequacies, inconsistency. So again, there was a lot of hand-holding by the KM team, and by the end of the study, we didn't even have to go back to them. We could blindly trust the forms that they were filling, and we could get in the data, because we did do a quality check to ensure this. For Pune, there was a specific issue of parents taking their sick children to some private providers in the area. Now, these private providers are not necessarily pediatricians. They can be general doctors, but this is because of cultural and traditional practices of care seeking in that area. Again, we could not force the medical officers, ANMs could not force the parents to bring them to a government hospital, but they counsel and they gave confidence to the parents that we have guidelines, we have adequately trained medical officers to treat. Even if a child is very sick, we can still treat this child, and this actually helped. So government referrals did improve over the study period, but we still had a few parents who continue to prefer private providers, which is okay. I mean, which was fine. There was the issue of the algorithm says that before referral of sepsis to a tertiary care hospital, a pre-referral dose of injection gentamicin has to be given. However, this was an issue with many medical officers and especially ANMs, which gradually improved, but still this was still an issue, and this is something that the public health system is still looking for. So what were the main takeaway or take-home messages or the learnings from this study? The biggest learning, which has a direct potential for a policy guideline change, is that fast-breathing pneumonia in 0 to 59 days young infants can be effectively and safely treated with oral amoxicillin. They need not be referred to a tertiary care hospital. So this also helps in reducing the workload at tertiary care hospitals. And we also learned that referral systems could be adequately mobilized and implemented. So if you look at some of these outcomes that Dr. Kazi mentioned quickly, feasibility, yes, it is feasible to implement the strategy of sepsis because we show the numbers. It was feasible. Was the public health system ready? Initially not, because we saw the first 6 months there were inadequate case reporting, but over the period, yes, the public health system did gear up to address sepsis and PSBI. What about acceptability and implementation penetration? Again, acceptability, it was gradual. At the beginning, it was challenging, but over the period of the next 15 months, it was well accepted, and there was a very good penetration in all the 8 tribal PHCs as well as the subcenters, the remote subcenters also. Any major system adaptations required? No major system adaptations were required, only except for a need for motivation for medical officers and ANMs. Challenges, I think we just looked at the challenges, so I don't want to go over this, but these have been documented. And what about the facilitators? One of the most crucial facilitator for this study was an ownership by the state and district public health system for this to manage sepsis in the public health system, and the formation of a technical support unit. So, and finally, we are in talks with the district and the state health system to scale up these studies to other parts of the district as well as to other parts of the state, because they have shown an interest, because they've seen this works in this tribal area. So they have shown an interest, and we are in talks with them to how do we scale it up and to other parts of the district of Pune district and Maharashtra.